everyone, and welcome to another episode of JRPG Club, the wonderful club where a bunch of my friends and I get together and play a different JRPG. And this month, we are continuing our check through Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age. And today, with me, I have Marissa.
Hi, sorry.
Annie.
Hi.
And Christy.
Hi, everybody.
Brandon.
Yo.
Stephanie.
Hello.
And Job.
What up?
And thank you guys for coming once again to discuss Final Fantasy XII. For anyone who's been waiting on this podcast, the truth of the matter is that Jarrell, I accidentally deleted the first file that we had actually recorded. 2 hours worth of wonderful conversation about our previous stopping point. That
Nights
I totally. That's all you need to know is that nights are great. That was pretty much that pretty much sums up everything.
And judges have really cool designs.
Isn't nights are great what happens in every podcast conversation we have though? So
I mean, yeah.
Listen,
So really
there's a refresher course at the end of every episode. It's fine.
Yeah. We have that. It's like in the syllabus at the top every time.
Absolutely.
We hand it out at the beginning
Nobody
of every
left
class.
behind.
It's fine.
Yeah.
There it is. So unlike the first time, I'm just going to do a general overview of everything that happened in the plot, and then we're just going to talk about our experiences with the bosses, the mechanics, the gambits, etc., what you guys did, and then anything else that stuck out to you during our pretty long checkpoint for the month of, what was that, January? December? I think December, whatever month this was, because I
it was, I think for January, because this is now I'm confused. I'm sorry. I tried.
It's for
I think
December.
December, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds right.
Holidays and everything. It was busy.
Life, holidays, etc. So general overview of everything that happened. We were stuck in the dungeon last time, and Vaughn and Balthier got into a fight with some Banga that were looking for Balthier. Some judges came down, and we were introduced to judges. I think we were introduced to judges for the first time in the game, and we found out that they are the self-proclaimed guardians of law in Arcadia, and they're really this big deal, essentially. That's pretty much what we found out there. And that the Banga there began then was specifically looking for Balthier. So we were in a pretty bad spot because there's judges, there's Begamnon, and we're kind of stuck.
And
Fran,
also, how can he run so fast?
oh my god. So that was something we discussed. So there's a portion in this checkpoint where you either have the option to fight or run away from Begamnon and the Banga. So what did you guys do there?
I tried to fight, and then he killed Fran, and then that's when I knew I had to run.
Yeah, I
And
didn't
he could
attempt
run
the first
really
one.
fast.
I didn't attempt the first one. I was like, oh, this thing's strong. I'm just gonna go, and then I fought the second one. So
And he's really fast. I hate that he's so fast. I'm like, what the heck?
I made the same mistake. I tried to fight at first and I got my ass beat. What happened was I was running and I got confused by my map. I always play with it on the main screen, but I actually ran into like a corner and I was like, well, I'm in this corner, I'm gonna fight. And he took me down. So I was like, yeah, no, and just like started throwing all of my underleveled babies at him until eventually Vaughn was the one who carried us out. And we got away. So yeah, running ended up being an option.
Honestly, I think running is the only option at this point in the game. Like, I don't think I know
like
anyone
unless
who's been
you're
able
super
to do
over level, it
For
seems like
real.
it is.
The second you guys
Literally.
told me that we could avoid it, I said, say less. I was like,
Yes.
I'm not about to. No, so I didn't even try.
Honestly, you shouldn't. I tried one time and I got kicked, and I was like, nah, this is dumb. Just run. And they run so fast and they follow you through every zone. And that was a taste of what I thought the game was gonna be. And it turns out everything has just been really easy since then for me. So it wasn't even a big
Brag
deal.
about it, but
So it turns out that this judge is looking to interrogate someone, and as we follow the judges down into the dungeon, we come across the judge removes his mask and he looks strikingly like Bosch, and we find out that it is actually Bosch's twin brother, who is actually the one who killed the king and made Bosch take the fall for it as Bosch is tied up underneath the ground. And then Vaughn sees him, he gets all mad and he starts like kicking him and shit, making a ton of noise. And that's when they're like, Fran's like, yo, we gotta get the fuck out of here because this little idiot kid is making all this noise, we're gonna get seen. So like we jump down and we're in the sewers, and as we walk through the sewers, there's like a section where there are these spiders that are taking electricity and we have to stop them, and then we got a boss fight with a spider queen. Anybody want to talk about their experience with the spider queen if you remember it?
She wasn't that bad, surprisingly.
Wasn't too bad. Yeah, that's all I really got to say about that.
Yeah, had a pretty decent time. I mean, especially after we just talked about this. Hey, don't actually fight these dudes chasing you. You would think that this huge boss fight would be scary, but it was okay. Didn't have too bad of a time.
Anybody have any issues with keeping the electricity down from 100%?
I will say at first I was so mad because you get locked into this cutscene and you see that these mimics are just draining the energy. And I was like, dude, this is bullshit. Like, I can't stop this cutscene from happening. And I just see we're running out of power. But then Balthier's like, no, it'll give you back the energy if you ask it nice enough. And I was like, oh, okay, I see. It's just trying to tell you that if you kill the mimics, you can get the energy back. Fine. So at first I was like tilted, but then once you kill the mimics and see you get the energy back, I was like, okay, game, I guess I don't have to be mad anymore. So that was all fine.
So another important point here is that Bosch and his brother confront one another, and like I mentioned, we do find out that Bosch's brother, this judge, is the actual traitor. And I mentioned this before, but if you play in English, if you pay attention, in the very beginning of the game, you'll notice that the voice actors for Bosch and his brother are different. So very keen-eyed and and their eye color is also different. So very keen-eyed and eared players might notice in the very beginning, when the king is dying, that it's not actually Bosch who is the one that killed him, because he sounds and looks different. It's very subtle, but it's there. And so I mentioned that last time. So if anyone starts over and ever gets to that point, you'll be able to hear and see the difference, different eye color, different voice actor. I thought it was pretty cool. But any specific reactions to the fact that Bosch has a twin brother who's actually the bad guy, even though Bosch is tied up? How'd you feel? Was it a part of the story that you thought was coming? What'd you think?
I'm happy that Bosch wasn't actually a bad guy, because I was so disappointed when I thought he was. So I was really happy to learn that he was on the up and up.
Yeah, I just kind of said bish bash bosh, there's your reasoning, and kept going.
I kind of noticed the voice difference ages ago.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
So I actually had it spoiled that Bosch was going to be in the party. So I knew something had to happen, but I didn't know exactly what. So seeing like the whole scene with Vaughn losing his mind, which I mean, of course, makes sense because, you know, he's like, this is the person who did the evil, awful, terrible, and killed my brother. Like, yeah, I get it, you know. But I was really interested to see how they were going to resolve that, because ultimately I knew he was going to end up teaming with the party and everything like that. But now that I know that there was like the subtle differences between the eye color, because one of the things I was joking about is like, I get so lost with the judges and the differences and everything like that between all of them, that I did not pick up on Bosch and his brother having so many like differences, subtle differences, but like having those differences. So I was kind of like, okay, I guess this twin brother story, whatever, sure. But honestly, like I like the direction that the story went. I liked hearing everything from Bosch's point of view, and I think like the way that they ultimately kind of resolved all of that, and then just how kind of willing that, although it took Vaughn a little bit of time to kind of process it and everything, how ultimately he was kind of like down for the possibility of all of that happening,
Mhm.
and how quick he was to kind of like, okay, sure, let's bring down all this together. Like, I'm down for it. It was one of those moments where I went from like, God, Vaughn's such an idiot, especially through the whole dungeon portion. Like, oh my God, it was one of those times where I was like, yep, now I don't like Vaughn again. And then seeing how he reacted to Bosch after all of that, I was like, okay, he won me over again, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
it was a cool twist. I liked it.
And honestly, in his defense, it is really hard to, your brother was killed, and this guy who clearly killed your brother is like, nah, it was my twin brother who you've never seen before because you didn't know he had a twin brother. It is kind of hard to be like, okay, bitch, I believe you. Like, nah, you fucking did it. Like, I think it was you. But yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. Steph, I know that you've passed this part. I am interested. What did you think about it being his twin brother?
I didn't care for it.
Oh, really?
No.
What, you
I
thought it was
feel
like an
like
easy out?
Yes, I think so. I mostly because I feel like a lot of the time, I don't know, I guess I just watch a lot of TV and shit. So like they always make the people look out to be like they're the bad guy when they're not the bad guy.
Okay.
So I just feel like saying he's a twin, I don't know. To me, I didn't care for it. I was more surprised about something else that you'll talk about. But that one was the first.
She was like, been there, done that. I have watched so many shows. This is trash.
Yeah.
This ain't new.
Pretty much.
Okay, well, at least Brandon was happy that it wasn't Bosch. Everybody else is like lame. Anyway, so then as we exit the dungeon, Penelo's fucking kidnapped by Bagamnon and his people, because of course she is. And we basically have to go rescue her. There's a portion where we get, when we're looking to go rescue her, we get a sword from Old Dallin, our wonderful friend, and we walk in on a confrontation between Vossler and Bosch, and basically Vossler's like, yeah, I don't believe it was your brother. I feel like you kind of did this too, and you're also a piece of shit. However, I'm gonna let you walk around because I'm not a piece of shit and we're friends, which was a very weird scene for me, because I really thought Vossler like was just gonna believe him. Instead, Vossler was just like, nah, I'm gonna keep my eye on you. And then we find out that Penela is being held in the sky city of Bujerba. So we fly to Bujerba, and as we get there, there's a bunch of security detail everywhere, like Empire guards, and everything's locked down because they're like, oh, somebody's missing. We're looking for someone. And then we meet this kid named Lamont, and we're headed to the mines where Penelo's held. And Lamont is like, hey, I got to go to the mines too. How about we all just go to the mines together? And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. Let's go to the mines together. And so they head into the mines, and while we're in there, we find out something really important, which is that Lamont pulls out a magicite, which is manufactured necessite that absorbs magic. And he says
honestly,
that
how does this kid get it? Where did he
Right?
get it from?
right.
So much sketchy shit with this kid though, like right out the gate.
You're like, this kid is sus.
Exactly.
Why is everyone hating on this kid though? I don't know. I thought he came in clutch.
Okay,
No,
he did, but in the beginning, it's like, who the fuck is this kid? Why does he have this manufactured nethicite? What is he talking about Dracula Laboratories? Like, he knows way too much to be some random ass
Not
kid.
just that, he says he has an errand to run in the mines, right? He is dressed with all this jewelry on. He's got this poofy silk white shirt talking about, I have to go to the mines too, y'all. Like, okay, first of all, like, you're gonna get so covered in soot and rock and bullshit.
Mhm.
And let's talk about too that Balthier literally before like we get outside is like, let's also not use our names, especially Bosch's, because he's supposed to be dead. And then Vaughn comes out the ship like, hey Lamont, this is my best friend Bosch. Do you want his address? We just came from Ramanastor, where Bosch just was a soldier, by the way, like for the king before the war. Like, do you need his social security number? Like, I mean,
Yo, thank you for reminding me of that.
thing was so sketch.
It literally was one of the, it's like, wow, okay, Vaughn's not so bad. And then the first thing Balthier says is, let's not use names. And out of all the names he could have used, he could have used his own name because nobody
He
can
could
spell
have used
Vaughn. You're
Fran's
nobody.
name, like anyone's
literally.
name.
There are two people specifically that you shouldn't name. One of them is Balthier because he clearly has a fucking, price on his head. Everyone's always searching for him. The other one is this dead guy who killed the king that is now alive. Like, two names we're not supposed to use. Probably priority goes to Bosch not being used, and that's the first name this motherfucker announces because he's an idiot. And that's when I was like, oh my god.
But we knew this. We knew this.
We did know he was
Vaughn.
an idiot. We did know.
Yeah.
We did know, but I really didn't expect that. I was like, come on, bro. Like, you can't be that dumb. Like, you recognize how important this guy is because you just tried to like beat him up because you understand.
Let's just mention he literally said this, like, we're in the terminal to the airship. We take 2 steps out.
Where all these guards are still around.
All these guards are still out here looking for these bitches. And he's like, here's the first NPC who looks suspicious as hell, talking about, let's go to the mines. By the way, I'm dressed up in this nice ass outfit, this posh ass accent, talking about I need to go to the mines too. Oh yeah, by the way, this is my best friend Bosch. Like,
just a war criminal, just traveling with him.
Yeah.
Supposed to be dead, but he's not really. It's cool. The
level of
who just busted out of prison like 20 minutes ago.
Literally. What were you saying, Steph?
The level of trust.
You can't, right? And all of them are like, oh my god, Vaughn, like we can tell that you're the kid here. Anyway, as soon as we're about to get some information from this Lamont kid, but Gamnon and the Banga crew come up, and then that's when they chase us, and then we all decided to run because none of us could take them on, and then we find out that this kid is actually Larsa Farinus Solidor. That is his real name. He is the 4th son to Emperor Granus and Vane's younger brother. So there are 2 sons left to the Emperor. There is Vane and there's Larsa, and we find out that this is the person that all the guards were looking for because he's essentially one of the last princes of the Empire, aside from Vane, who we met previously before. And through circumstances, Larsa and Pinello end up going away together, and he takes care of her while we go visit Marquis Andor, who is, for anyone who didn't know, he's actually the announcer that does the voiceovers in the beginning of every chapter. Marquis Andor was a friend of the emperor who died, the king of Ravenastor who died. Marquis Andor was his friend. He's also the guy who said that Lady Ash was dead, and he's also in charge of the Sky City of Bujerba, and essentially he has an accord with the Empire to ensure that the Sky City is like kind of lax, kind of safe, whereas the city of Ravenastor, all of the guards are basically pieces of trash that force half of them to live underground, and they're all horrible. In Bujerba, we see a complete opposition to that, where the soldiers and the people work and live together. It's a very I wouldn't say communal, but it's much nicer than it is in Ravenastor. And to keep that going, Marquis Andor continues to have these connections with the Empire. So anyway, we're talking to or actually we're gonna set up a meeting with Andor, and
Andor lies.
Yes.
Don't listen anymore to Andor's lies.
Yeah, well, we're set a meeting with Marcus Andor to ask him to help us aid in helping Amalia was her name, right?
Yeah.
Amalia.
Yes. Okay.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness. You okay there, Travis?
Amalia.
Because I forgot.
That's
was that
her
like,
name?
Was that her? Okay, yeah, that was her fake name. Okay,
Yeah.
yes. That's what I was like, oh no, because I was
Fake
hard to remember her name.
What do you mean? That's always been her name.
So yeah,
That's crazy.
we go and we're like, hey, we need help to save the resistance leader Amalia, who we met previously in the last podcast, and at the same time Vane is informed that there's a resistance in Bujerba that is being funded by Marquis Andor, and that Vane does not like Marquis Andor very much because he doesn't like resistances against the Empire.
Don't we always hate resistances though?
They're not. When we're Empire members, resistances aren't very great. And essentially we find out that this woman is actually Princess Ashelia. Fuck, what is her name?
I mean, we can shorten it
Princess Ash.
to what it is.
Yeah.
Which, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, Ashelia Benargan Dalmasca. She is the late Ashelia Benargan Dalmasca, who we find out did not actually die, because we were talking before about how she, they said, she died after her dad died and her husband died. She killed herself. And then we were kind of in the last podcast talking about what would happen if she came back and how that would be really cool. So Steph, once again, you specifically were talking about how it would be really cool. And Brandon, you as well. How did you guys feel when you found out that the late Ashelia was actually not dead, but very much alive and leading a resistance against the Empire?
Happy
Clearly part of
AF
Andor lies.
because yes, part of Andor's lies. Happy AF because like I mentioned in the first podcast that we did that I really liked Amalia and I was sad that she wasn't sticking around. And then now she's here as a party member. And I forgot to mention earlier, but like Boschka's a party member too. I'm just so happy that all these characters who are just on the team. Like they have their own license board, everything. I was just so happy. I was just like, these are cool characters. I'm just happy they're here.
That's it. I mean,
That's all I gotta say.
No, not you. I'm sorry. I thought Steph was gonna say something.
Why? I don't know why you're a big a big Bosch fan for whatever reason. No hate or anything, but damn.
What?
I don't know. Like it's like the stoic knight types. They're
knights, yes.
See, Annie's on board. No, stoic knight types, when done correctly, I don't know, resonate with me. Like I like him. I like what's his name? Oberek from Octopath Traveler. Like
what
cool
this
characters.
is?
I like
This
them.
is Brandon and Waka all over again.
Hey, listen, Waka is fine. He got.
I'm safe.
Better.
All right, any digital fist bump. We're on the same page.
Yeah, we
here
got
today.
this.
What I'm really surprised about this game is that you get all your party members so quickly.
Yeah, a lot of them come
Compared
in and
to
out
Final
as guests,
Fantasy
and
X.
then eventually you will have all. Yes, it took a while before we got Riku.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, did anyone else have any feelings about finding out that Ash was not only not dead, but leading a resistance against the Empire?
I called it. I just want to
You
say
did.
I
You
called
did.
it.
You
did.
No, I mean, I think again, just the whole, like you were just saying, it's kind of cool how quickly we got everyone on board. Because when she came in and out as a guest that quickly, and for kind of that feeling of like, come on, y'all, this is fucking Lady Ash, get your ass back here. I know we're gonna go on this magical journey to like restore what you are. Like, just where is you going?
We're getting the band back together.
Yeah. I was kind of like surprised that we got separated. I wasn't too surprised that she didn't end up in the jail with us, but at the same time, I kept kind of like expecting that we were gonna find her in where the F is the dungeon at? What is that place called?
Oh, the dungeon we were in.
Nalbana?
Yeah.
The mines?
The mines.
No, the jail. I thought like instead of us finding Bosch there, we were gonna find like they
Ash
kept
there.
Lady Ash there somewhere.
Well, remember that she was free. Oh, you mean like before you thought we were gonna find her there?
Yeah, like we were gonna find that they kept her somewhere separate there to like talk about like, oh, we found the princess, or like I thought that was what we were gonna find somewhere down in there, not Bosch being held somewhere. Which I mean, still cool plot point to like, hey, we turned a corner and we found him here. What? But I thought that's what we were gonna find lurking somewhere deep down in the jail. So to like come across her later on, I was glad that it still happened so soon. But at the same time, like I was expecting to find her somewhere in the jail, not that she was at this other where was it? It was like in this, I can't remember if that was still part of the Sky City or if that was like once we were like on that ship.
I don't remember.
It was like we were in the air for a hot minute. Like I forgot exactly where it was, but I was glad too, because after having her as a guest in the party, like she was badass and I had plans for her. I knew we were getting her back. And I was like, she's gonna come back, she's gonna be a knight and my white mage. Like I had
As
plans
they
drew
all
up.
should be.
Right, as they all should be.
So actually,
Which,
Marissa and
speaking of,
Mhm. Go ahead.
speaking of, I actually made everybody knights. Annie would be so proud.
Yes, yes, I am. My heart is like full of flutters.
Yeah.
So actually, Marissa and I were actually talking about this when it happened, because she, as soon as she saw Ash like pretending to be Amalia, she sent me a picture and she was like, "How is this not Ash?" And I was like, "I can't say anything." And she was like, "She looks exactly alike." And I was talking to Job about it too, and I was like, "How do they not know that it's her? It clearly looks exactly like her." Like I
She's
don't
on like the cover of the game too.
like, how did they not know it's
not
her?
a single difference.
There's not a single
Listen,
difference. Like it literally looks like her.
listen. I just don't pay attention to details sometimes. It
But
is
it's
like
not even
animated.
details, it's her.
What? But you'll notice Titus's
Listen.
earring.
Yeah, she did
Whatever.
notice Titus's necklace.
What?
But
Okay.
she don't see that this lady is the same lady that we just talked to from the beginning.
I don't know, okay? I don't know.
Listen, Steph said sometimes she won't be paying attention to details.
True. She said sometimes true.
It's
Brandon was
selective.
fooled
It's
as well.
definitely selective.
Brandon was fooled as well. And you guys did mention that we only see her in like 2 sections. And both times she's like dressed in like a dress. And then the second time she's
Yeah.
like,
Well,
you
and
know,
like
got
the
the funeral
first
set.
time she has the veil because it's like her
Both
wedding
times she has a
day.
veil.
Yeah, and then after that she's in mourning. So it's
Yeah.
like I got that. But what was funny, because I remember I sent you the picture and then like we couldn't talk about it because you weren't spoiling and everything like that. But then once it like happened and it was like, okay, finally we can like talk about it. You were like, oh, I so wanted to change the picture of the JRPG Club because
Yes.
she's sitting in the middle of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, but when you open up on the Switch, at the very least, I don't know what it's like on, you know, if people are playing on PlayStation and if they're playing on PC, but when you open it up, the very first thing on the Switch, when it's like the picture on the home screen,
Yeah.
it's her sitting in the
Sitting in
middle
the
of them.
screen,
And so
yeah.
it was like, see, you don't even have to change it because it's literally her sitting in the middle of everyone. And it's
Yeah.
like, that's not where I saw it. It was when she's standing there, like Vaughn sees her for the first time and I'm like, Lady Ash, get your fucking ass down from there.
Yeah. You know what's so interesting, actually? The only party member not present in that tile is Bosch. Vaughn, Pinello,
Yeah.
Fran, Balthier, and Ash are all there.
Mhm.
So it's like it's kind of a giveaway, you know, if you just look at
I'm
the
just
source.
glad I didn't look too deeply at these things. I was just like, I'm gonna just find out the party as I go. I don't know who's in this game. I'm just gonna see.
Yeah.
But it was
yeah.
really cool to experience you guys, you know, not knowing and then getting, you know, this feeling of, oh shit, it actually was her.
No, and I
Yeah.
didn't get it from the Switch picture or from the JRPG Club picture or anything like that. But it was like when I saw, you know, like the opening sequence, and then I saw her when we were trying to get to Redmayne, I was like, that's fucking her. Why is this game still lying to me? Like
Like, it's
that's
clearly
her.
her.
Like, why didn't anyone in our current party at that time point it out? You know, like not Balthier, not Fran. Like I got Vaughn like not knowing because he was younger and like I could see him not really knowing what the royalty looked like at the time. Like I could see Vaughn not knowing, but I was like, not one person is over there scratching their head or like tilting their head to the side.
Well,
being like,
I don't think that, you know, Fran or Balthier would have known or cared.
true.
Because I feel like they were probably just flying around, not giving a fuck about anything.
Yeah, they're just like, I
So,
want
like-
fucking artifacts and money. Like, okay, but still, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, she's just walking around. She like they all got arrested, and there was a crowd of people, and not a single person reacted. I was
Yep.
like,
but you know,
this is
I-
Rabbit Aster.
I take the assumption that she was one of those princesses that you didn't really see because you saw her father a lot and her husband. So maybe people didn't see her that much, but I don't know. Either way,
There was like a parade for her wedding.
there was. You're right.
Thank
I was
you.
wrong. You were right. A whole ass wedding in the beginning, a whole parade and a funeral. So you're right. People just they were told that she was dead, and they were like, "All right, bet she did. Who's this bitch?" Like, we
Erase
believe.
her image from my memory. Just
We
like...
believe Andor's lies. They all did. It worked. Anyway, so she aboard here, she sees Bosch, and then she's like, oh shit, I thought you were dead, because apparently she too thought Bosch was dead, and Bosch admits
Everybody
that
thought everybody was dead.
everybody thought everybody else was dead. This is why. Bosch admits that her father gave him one last request, which was to get her to the Dusk Shard, excuse me, because the Dusk Shard would prove her lineage. And if they were able to prove her lineage, she'd be able to say, hey, I'm actually now going to be the Queen of Dalmasca and take Dalmasca away from the Empire's rule. So it's supposed to be a really big deal. However, she does not have the Dusk Shard because of reasons. And they all get arrested. And then there's a judge there. The judge is just like, okay, look, this is what we were going to do. We were going to keep you around for a little bit and then, come back and make you pretend like you agree with the Empire. However, you don't have the shard. We're going to get the shard. We don't need you anymore. So we're just going to kill you and find some lookalike and pretend that she's you and then make her do all the dirty work that we want to happen. However, before this happens, one of the guards there ends up being Vossler, and he takes his he's there in disguise. He takes his disguise off and he helps the party escape because we're all arrested at this point. Because it's assumed that Marquis Andor was not going to help us because he got us all arrested. However, he sent Vossler to come help and save us. So we end up getting away with the shard that they've stolen from us. I think that's what happens, right? Am I missing something? Anything important there?
That sounds right.
That sounds right.
Sounds right. This is when it was the Maleficent hair having dude,
yes,
right?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is when it shows that I don't know any of the judges' name. I just started calling them by features, and this was Maleficent having hair, dude.
Yeah, I still don't know this judge's name, honestly.
Wait, the one you fought this session?
Yeah, what's this? Do you remember it?
Oh, that's Judge Geese.
Ah, okay.
Geese.
Of course,
Okay.
of course, Brandon would know.
What?
That's right. She right.
Brandon, I feel like if you ever have a question, Brandon would know.
Also,
This is very true.
also
This is very true.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so after we defeat Judge Geese and we're able to escape thanks to Vossler's help, who we find out Vossler's literally been protecting Ash for the past 2 years, we go back to Ondor and we find out that Ondor's actually Ash's uncle. And he's like, yo, you need to stay here. And she's like, nah, I need to go find proof of my birthright so that I could go like save my people in Dalmasca. And he's like, girl, you don't have no proof. Like, all you're going to do is get yourself killed. So she turns to the Sky Pirates and she's like, all right, y'all, fucking steal me away. Like, I know this is what you do. Steal me. I need to get out of here. There's going to be a treasure for you. And they're like, treasure, all right, bet, let's go. So they all fly away from Ondor to try to get away, and at the same time, Judge Gabranth is speaking to the Emperor, who is dying of an illness because, of course, all the old people are going to die.
Right.
And he doesn't know who is going to be his successor. And everyone on the Council of the Empire is like hoping that it's not Vane because they're all like, "Oh God, Vane's really bad." It's
like, have you
him.
heard his name?
Like his name's literally Vane. He's a pretty bad guy. Hopefully, we're hoping that maybe it can be Larsa. So the Emperor asked Judge Gabranth to be Larsa's shield and to keep a close watch on Vane to ensure that his two sons don't go to war against each other. And we also find out in passing that the Emperor had some other sons and Vane had something to do with them, and they all mysteriously died for one reason or another. And the only two children he has left are Vane and Larsa. So Judge Gabranth is the one who is supposed to be taking care of Larsa should something eventually happen to the Emperor. Anything that I'm missing there? I don't think so, right?
I literally just watched that cutscene as you were like reading it.
Okay. Did I miss anything?
No, that was literally it. Thank you.
All right, so then the party has to head to the tomb of
it shows us that like the judges, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
They wear like very different like armor.
Yeah, they all have
it's not all like different.
It's
very
great
like,
armor.
unique. Oh my goodness. There was one and he looked like a mushroom and I was like, whoa.
Honestly. They're dope though. Like the way they have like that unique axe weapon along with whatever other sword they may be carrying, it's just this is really dope design. I actually really like it.
The thing is you would think that would make me remember who everyone was, and it doesn't. And it makes me really sad.
They all look
it's
different,
difficult.
but they're all still judges, like wearing armor. So it's like, I
The
don't know.
thing
Yeah,
is,
like
we haven't met the one that sticks out to me the most yet, but we'll get there. And I know that person's name, and I won't say who it is yet, but I love them very much.
Same. I know who you're talking about. I too love them because
Yeah.
we talked about it.
We talked about them a lot.
Oh, this panther has a squid on his head.
Oh, I know where you are. You're going
I
in the
know
right
exactly where you
You're
are.
going
Yep,
in the right
yep.
direction.
Yeah, that's the right place.
Oh, there's like 4 of them. Oh no,
This-
run.
The party, we
fine,
have
fine.
to head to the Tomb of Wraithwall to find the Dusk Shard. I'm sorry, the Dawn Shard, because that is proof of the lineage of Damaska. So we have to go to the Tomb of Wraithwall to get this Dawn Shard so that Ash can prove that she is Ash, she's herself. And as we go in, there's a little bit of puzzle. There's a demon wall that we have to face, and then it's an optional portion whether we're going to face it or not, and then we go inside and there's another demon wall that is not optional that we have to fight. I'll give you guys, anyone who wants to speak on the demon wall, what you did, how you felt about it, whether it was easy, whether it was hard, whether you fought the first one or ran. Anybody want to talk on the demon wall a little bit?
I ran the first time.
What?
Annie, we're not all beasts like you, okay?
Say to
God.
fight cowards. I literally thought I was about to die right here. And I was like, oh, better run. And then like I just got this huge heal from the 3 other people. And I was like, oh no, we're fine. We're fine.
See, I fought the first demon wall. The only thing that was kind of hard was the timing of it because that thing moves really fucking fast. However, I just used a shit ton of quickenings and set up my gambits to heal from blindness and all that other shit. And
That's what I did for
I
the
was able to do
second
it.
one. I used a ton of quickenings and was like, yep,
The
no,
second
we're
one
ending this
wasn't
really
that
quick.
hard. It moves really slow.
It wasn't bad. It's just that too,
You had a
if it
longer
catches you
area,
off
too.
guard.
Yeah, you had a longer area as well.
Mhm.
Brandon, what'd you do?
Ran for the first one, beat the second one up.
Steph, what'd you do? And Job, what'd you do? And Marissa, what'd you do?
I got my ass kicked the first time, went back out and grinded for a while. I came back. I almost beat the first demon wall, but just did not have enough time. So I left right before it would squish me. And then I beat the second one so fast that it made me upset that I didn't beat the first one fast enough. And I used my like quickenings and stuff like that, but I just did not shred it fast enough. So
Yeah.
I kind of took the L on that one, but kept going through the temple because I was like, if I got that close to beating it, like I know this temple is going to be okay.
Yeah. Anyone else want to discuss their experience? Yes, no. 3, 2, 1. All right. Anyway.
Wait, hold on. Just before you get into the temple, there's like the big bird you have to fight.
Yes, the Garuda Boss. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
did
yeah,
anyone
yeah,
have
yeah.
any trouble with that?
That one was
No.
super
Garuda?
simple for me.
It was. I didn't have too much of a problem with Garuda, all things considered.
I put my controller down, came back, and it was dead.
Oh my god.
Whatever.
I was like, oh, all right then.
But you have really good gambits because mine, it did knock out one of my people, but then like, I just, here's a Phoenix down and they're like, oh, I breathe again. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And it was fine.
Well, the truth is, one of my people could have died. I wouldn't know because I walked away. Although I do have a gambit to bring them back. So who
Yeah,
knows
see,
what
I don't
happened.
have gambits for that shit. So I'm like, I have to be the one to throw the
Oh.
Phoenix down. So
After
have-
you get the license for a spell, do you have to go buy it?
Yes.
yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Job, were you gonna say something about the demon walls or Garuda?
No, Garuda was super easy. That was like, I could have put my controller down, but the wall I tried like 5 times, failed really hard every time. Don't have the damage, gave up. Second wall was super easy though.
I am low-key happy, y'all, and I know this is gonna make me a bad person, but anytime that Job actually struggles with something that I don't, I feel like a real gamer. Just gonna throw that out there. I did not struggle.
As
I
opposed to
got
all
it
these
like the
fake
second
gamers out
time.
here.
Oh God, no! I got it the second time, but he skipped it, so I'm just throwing that out there. And he's played this before, so I mean, I have too, but whatever. I feel validated.
I feel a little bit validated. Like I didn't hard struggle. I just
Yeah.
didn't beat it either. But like It wasn't awful. But yeah, like ugh, I don't want to know what level I had to be at to beat it. Like I just also didn't want to get squished again and didn't want to grind anymore. I was like, I just want to get through this temple, damn it.
Yeah. So next up, after we get through the temple, we are able to find the Dawn Shard. And we take it back. We go outside, and as soon as we go outside, the Empire's there. They grab us up, they arrest us again. It's literally every time we come out of a temple or something, the Empire is flying a ship right there. Every single time. It has not failed. So we exit, they're there, they catch us. Vossler, we find out, has struck a bargain to hand the Dynast King treasure over, which is the Deifacted Nethicite, which is the shard, the Dawn Shard that we have, in exchange for allowing Lady Ashe to reclaim her throne and the kingdom of Dalmasca to be restored. Balthier is like, bro, you're dumb. That's not what's gonna happen. They're literally just gonna make Ashe another puppet for the Empire. You're an idiot. Why would you make this agreement? Ashe ends up having to hand the shard over to ensure that no harm comes to Dalmasca or the party. And what we also find out is that the treasure of the tomb is actually the Esper, Bellius, the fire Esper, which we then gain control over after we beat it. What ends up happening is they start testing this Nethicite, Judge Geese, right? It's Judge Geese, right? He tests
Still
the Dawn
Maleficent
Shard.
here.
Yes, he tests the Dawn Shard because he's like, I'm gonna be the cool one. And then
which is a total bad idea.
It was, because the mist burns. Fran ends up going berserk with rage because she can't control herself due to the mist, because Viera are sensitive to the mist. She goes crazy and kills everybody. We end up fighting Vossler because he's a dumbass. As we fly away, the Dawn Shard explodes because it is being tested too much. It ends up exploding. It kills everyone in the fleet. Vossler, the judge, all the airships, everyone around it, everybody dies, and then we get the Dawn Shard back, and we go back, and we are then told by we find out that Marquise Ondor is actually attempting to put a full resistance group together against the Empire because he now knows that Lady Ashe plans on returning. However, her returning would ruin that plan, so they decide that they're going to hide a little bit longer. And back over in the Empire, they are afraid that Rosaria, the opposing area, is planning to attack Arcadia. And now they've lost the 8th Fleet, which is the one that just blew up due to the shard. And that Vane is going to be punished for this because it was his decision to send the 8th Fleet there. So this is going to be the first time that maybe we'll see something bad happen to Vane. Then we find out that the Midlight Shard, because there's 3 shards, the Dusk Shard, the Dawn Shard, and the Midlight Shard, we find out that the Midlight Shard is in Nebradia, and it was in Nebradia, and it was the explosion that killed everyone in the very beginning of the game. So it's the reason that Rassler was killed, Rex, etc., all of them. Well, not Rex, but the Midlight Shard has already been used. It's destroyed. The Dawn Shard no longer works now because it was just used. And the Dusk Shard is in the hands of the Empire. So Ashe wants to use the Dawn Shard to fight the Empire. And so we then have to go south to the Gareth to figure out how exactly to use it. That's all the big stuff that happened. Those are the plot points. Is there anything that I missed? Anything specifically that happened in that area that you want to talk about? Anything that, stood out to you, character development wise, story wise, anything at all?
Vossler's betrayal hurt. I know in the grand scheme of things he wasn't really there long, but it was still like a bummer. But the fight against him was pretty cool.
I feel like I knew Vossler's betrayal was coming because he kept flip-flopping a lot. Like the first thing he says is like, oh, like Bosch, I can't trust you. You killed the king. And then he's like, but I've been protecting Ashe for 2 years. So you're telling me you've been protecting Ashe for 2 years, but you still believe that Bosch killed the king. But you are like walking around with the Empire, pretending to be an Empire person, but you don't know that Bosch has a twin brother. I don't believe anything you say.
Well, and then when we do finally see Ashe again, then him and Ashe have this moment where she's like, I don't know if we can trust Bosch again. And then he's like, well, we don't really have a choice. We have to trust Bosch again. After you just had like this whole thing about like,
Not
I don't know if
trusting
I
him.
trust you, Bosch,
Yes,
because you just been
exactly.
dead for all this, you know, like, I mean,
Right.
he's kind of, been playing both sides of the field the whole time.
Mhm.
I'll say like, yeah, I don't think I was necessarily like expecting it, but at the same time, it was kind of like one of those like, God damn it, we got betrayed again. Like,
Yes. Yes.
there's been a lot of people. I think the game does that really well. Like, you know,
Betrayals hurt.
for giving
They
like all
do.
credit where it's due to Final Fantasy XII, like even the times where it's been kind of obvious like this person's not who this person's trying to be, just even like with Larsa, like we knew when we saw this kid, like this is sketch as hell, you know. Like
Mhm.
this kid is not who he says he's trying to be. But then Larsa ended up being a really sweet kid. Like he was really trying to like help us out, you know. He needed us to go down there with him and everything like that.
He's
But
nicer
then
than Vane. So
he's
much nicer.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
so much nicer than Vane.
Uh-huh.
He was trying to help out Penelo that whole time and like trying to keep her safe because she was in this really awful situation where they were trying to like they didn't care if harm came to her, and so he kind of stood by her side to make sure harm didn't come to her. So even in that moment where we really didn't know how we felt about this kid once we found out who he was, you know, like you could start to see by his actions like, okay, he's not as bad as like, you know, clearly some of his family has been.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean the game does a really good job of this like, oh yes, I'm Amalia, I'm totally not Lady Ash, and then you find out like, okay, it was Lady Ash.
Yeah.
You know, oh, Bosch totally killed my brother, and then no, here's this other guy, you know, my twin brother
Yeah.
who killed Rex. You know, like it does a good job of setting these people up, and then you find out these other facets of them, this other version of them. I mean, it does a really good job because even though it keeps happening, it's like you keep not expecting it. So even though Vossler, like, sure, maybe you saw something coming, it's like I didn't think it was going to be to that extent where he sold out Ash.
Yeah. You've been
thought
protecting
maybe
her for
like
2
it's gonna,
years, bro. Like,
yeah,
really?
like I thought like sure maybe he was gonna sell out Bosch again, but I didn't think he was gonna sell out Ash again. I thought it was gonna be like this, he betrays the party but not her, and then she crosses the line and is like, if you're gonna sell them out, you have to sell me out too.
Yep.
I didn't think it was gonna be like, oh yeah, by the way, I sold out Ash. You know, like, bro,
Even-
what?
Even, you know, even Marquis Andor was one that like he had been going very back and forth throughout this whole thing because initially he's like, all right, arrest all of them, but then he's like, oh, just kidding, but I sent Boster to help you. But then when you go back, he's like, all right, just stay here, like you can't do anything. And then afterwards he's like, all right, well, I'm gonna set the resistance up. So like he is a good guy, but
it's
even
like, who the fuck do you trust?
yeah, because even this whole time he's also playing the Empire, right? Because like he's like, yeah, no, I'm a part of the Empire, everything's cool, I agree with the Empire, and then behind their back he's running a resistance group. But Vane already knows about this resistance group, so he's putting himself in a very precarious situation. Like he's essentially gonna get himself killed, and he's doing it for the greater good. But he's another one that goes back and forth. And even, you know, the judges, like we met Judge Gabrand, we see that you know, most of the judges are really bad. Gabrand, who I think is Bosch's brother, I think Gabrand is Bosch's brother, I think they're the same judge.
So, yeah.
He seems like a really bad guy because he killed the king, and yet he and the emperor who's about to die have this, you know, moment where they're like, we need to protect Larsa because Larsa is the only good one out of all of us. So it's like, damn, I hate this judge, he's a bad guy, he killed Ash's dad, and yet at the same time I want to root for him because I don't want Larsa to die. So it's like,
I know, it's like, protect
like,
baby Larsa.
Like, damn it, like you might not be as bad as I thought you were. And I think it's a testament to just the writing of these characters, how none of them are one-dimensional. They all have, you know, some, okay, aside from Vaughn and Penelo, none of the rest of them are one-dimensional.
I'm there with Vaughn because he keeps flip-flopping to, wow, he really did a stupid thing there, to like, okay, he showed some growth here, to
also true.
Even his like, he said Bosch's name out loud, and then that ends up being their whole thing in that area, is like, we need to spread the word that Bosch is alive in order to stir up this resistance. I mean, that ended up being a whole side plot that we had to do.
True.
So I mean, even for us saying that, you know, we talk shit about Vaughn being stupid, like he does have moments too where it's like, no, he shows some maturity and he shows, you know, some he picks up on these social cues with Ash a lot through this portion too, that I think is really kind of sweet. He has these moments with her that they both have lost someone they really care about through this war, and when everyone else starts to move on, he stays back with her and talks about it, you know. So even though no, I don't use him in my party, and there's times where I'm just like, oh my god, Vaughn, really, we're talking about this, but he does stay back and have these really sweet tender moments with her sometimes, and I'm like, oh, see, Vaughn's not horrible. Like,
yeah. So we got 5 minutes left. 4 minutes left. Anyone else want to discuss anything important or how they felt really quickly about this before we wrap up? 3, 2, 1. All right. I think that's good for this portion then. It was great talking to you all. And I think the next checkpoint that we're going to talk about was, what was it?
You forgot?
I really did. We just got there. What was it?
Yeah, we just. Oh my god.
Foreign High Waist is the next one.
The High Waist. Yeah.
Wait, that was for next one though.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. That's the next one that we're going to talk about. Yeah. In the next podcast. Okay. All right. Well, I guess that's good. Everybody's good. Any last minute words? Any? No.
I'm good.
All right. Cool. Vaughn is what?
Whack.
Wow, after Marissa just talked about his growth.
Knights are great.
That's fine.
whack.
We can disagree.
Knights are great.
Y'all be sleeping on Vaughn, but like it's his story.
Yeah.
You walk into town.
No, it's Balthier's story.
It's Balthier. Balthier is the leading
He's
man.
the leading man.
I literally can care less for Balthier.
Thank you, Steph. Thank you,
No.
Steph. Thank you.
I know.
Steph's right. Steph's
I
right.
know. I'm sorry.
Oh my
can't breathe.
I
can't breathe.
I don't understand why everyone loves you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
But why? Like, can you explain quickly what it is?
I
just
just
don't like-
don't. And not that I just okay, like he's cute and all right, but like whenever I'm attacking shit, he literally throws one pistol shot. I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't
Wait a
have breath
second.
weapons. I don't know.
So you don't like him because
Oh.
of the decision you made to make him whatever character?
No, he's a knight. He's a knight. First
Okay,
of all,
so
number
what
I'm
does
a
that
sword
have
and
to
one.
shield.
do?
Number
What does
two,
that
he
have to
has
do with his
hella
character?
health, but he dead at because if he ain't gonna deal
Listen.
damage, I don't want him.
Okay.
Balthier's not even in my team.
boss.
That sounds like a
I'd
you
rather have
Rather
Rather have
no,
boss.
no.
My
Yes.
Balthier out
No.
here hitting like a
No.
truck.
Yes.
Oh,
so is
wait,
mine.
hold on.
Well,
Hold
then
on.
clearly, no. Listen, I stand by my statement. I
Okay,
stand by
okay,
my
but
statement.
I agree with
okay.
her.
So my actual question is, his character in the story. Is there anything you dislike about his personality or his character in the story aside from the non-damage he's dealing?
I mean, I guess he's aight.
Oh, okay. All right.
I guess his
okay.
storyline is whatever, but I just feel like everybody here is just like, oh my god, they're just fangirling over him. And I'm like, it's not that big of a deal.
I'm guilty. I will fangirl till the day I die over Balthier. Did you see the way that sword came at his neck and he did not flinch though? Like that was daddy. That was top tier daddy energy. Like he did not care. He was like, take my fucking head off. I don't care.
Always
That shit
been
was
the guy-
fine.
For real, he's always been the guy that's just like, all right, all of y'all are dumb. This is what we're gonna do. Like, I know what's gonna happen. How? Because I'm the fucking leading man of the story. Like,
You know what it is?
trust me, I know what's going on.
But also, I like the fact that he knows so much about the Empire.
He does. Even he picked
It
up
makes
on
me
Larsa.
wonder. It makes me wonder if he used to work for them.
Ooh, Christy. don't
Watch
do that.
him be
I know.
bad.
I can't
Watch
wait
him
until
be
we
bad.
find out some shit.
Oh gosh, he might
You
be
know what
bad.
it is? He reminds me of Ignis from Final Fantasy XV, and I hate Ignis.
Why?
Really, he reminds you of Ignis. I can't see that.
At all.
I
I,
don't
I
see
I
that.
can kind of see it
that,
because Ignis
so-
was kind of like the know-it-all type, like older brother guy. But
Yeah,
Balthazar
he was the
Balthier,
one who
but
was always
Balthier
like-
is great and wonderful, and he's a sky pirate.
Well, I mean,
is so cool.
Balthier's okay. There's nothing wrong with him. but,
Thank
like,
you. You know what? You know what? Annie and I are on the
He ain't
same
on, he
page,
ain't on my
and I love
team.
that. And I love that.
Okay. Well, anyway,
She
thank you
changed my
guys.
life by making everybody nice. You know what? Annie and I are a team now.
Well,
That's true.
I can't wait to see how far you actually get in this game. Thank you guys. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.
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 Bye.